This is crazy. First episode. For
The
me,
first episode
yeah,
of the
like
pod.
first like actual guest.
Okay.
Like last one was together with Yannick, but it was kind of like an introduction.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm gonna do these with like ecom agency guests or other cool people, and it's kind of full circle to have met as a first guest because for me, you've been like a very big inspiration for the journey. So I kind of started documenting it because like you were probably the only person I was watching that I could relate to. That wasn't like saying I'm rich, this and that. And then I was like, let me just do it from zero revenue. And then I have DMs sending. I've been on Matt's ass since like last year, January, saying like, can we hop on a call or like one day I'll be on the podcast and like.
Well, here we are. You were effectively on the podcast.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So Matt started Space Goods. It's a mushroom supplement brand. And
That's
yeah,
my latest venture.
yeah. How's that going?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
We just reached 1 year as of like last week, so
Yeah.
it's a much more interesting space than stuff I've done in the past, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, go and watch my pod to see me ramble about that for 2 hours on plenty of episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. I think I'm just applying a lot of previous experience, but I'm really trying to build something long term with that
Yeah.
rather than just another thing I do for a year or two, which
Yeah.
tends to have been my pattern in the past.
Yeah, because you did like multiple stores, multiple things, ended up
Yeah,
burning
I've
down.
done a lot of shit. Yeah.
And then you started Space Goods as like all in together with your podcast and your personal brand, right?
Yeah, pretty much like the last year. I guess the pod and the personal brand has like always been very much a side thing. But
Yeah.
I started the whole documenting the journey series like nearly a year ago, which people seem to like more than the pod. And I guess I still do both. I have guests on my own pod every week.
Yeah.
Well, I've been fairly consistent. We've just done episode 70 as of like 2 days ago.
Mhm.
And then I do the documenting the journey, which to be honest is just for me to fucking look at. If anyone watches it, that's great.
Yeah.
But I wish I'd done more of that when I was your age.
Yeah.
I did some of it. Like I've got like a travel channel and shit,
Yeah.
which was kind of documenting the journey, but it wasn't really about business or anything. It was just about where I was,
Yeah.
what I was doing in life broadly.
What were you thinking back then doing that? Like, was it, I want to go like build a big dropshipping store or I want to become a YouTuber? Like, why were you even doing both? Like, what was...
I don't even know. It's always one of those things. It's impossible to remember how you felt about something back then because now my life experience is different, right?
Yeah.
I always say I wish I knew what I know now then, but hindsight's 2020. As in,
Yeah.
like I would have documented more.
Yeah.
I would have maybe pivoted into certain stuff sooner. But I guess no one can see the future, right?
Yeah.
So
So it was just like random shit. You just felt like I'll record my life.
yeah, well, I wanted to be a YouTuber when I was like 17. I used to do like One Direction music covers. Hence why I just got the guitar out a minute ago to bring back my past. And I realised I wasn't really good enough to be a professional musician. I was in a band for like 5 years when I was younger.
Yeah.
But that was like my first YouTube stuff. That channel still exists, literally from 10 years ago now. And then I started my old channel, which is also... So I've had 3 YouTube channels.
Yeah.
It would have been better if I'd kept them all on one.
Yeah.
Because then I could have had like the historical view.
Yeah.
Similar to like how Iman's done it, where
Yeah.
his original videos are still on the same channel.
Yeah.
I split mine up into I had a music channel, I had a travel channel, which is linked in all my YouTube videos now, so go and find it. The music one is not.
Yeah.
Go and find that if you want, but it's not linked. And then obviously I got the pod, which I've been doing for like a year and a bit now. So, but yeah, I don't know what the plan was. I think I just maybe in the past I felt like it was less relevant putting content out because I had less life experience and less experience doing D2C and so on. But I decided a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
I was like, fuck it, let's just start a podcast. And then that got a bit of traction. People seemed to like it, particularly in the UK scene. And yeah, I really don't take it that seriously. I probably should, but I've been pretty consistent with it.
Yeah, I think that's...
And it's a great networking tool more than anything else, to be honest.
Yeah? Like, you have some investors that came from the pod, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And some other, like, very cool people.
Yeah, I've
through
met a lot of cool people through the pod, and I think just ultimately, if no one knows who you are and what you're doing, then it's impossible to make connections around that. Like, it's so beneficial to put yourself out there,
Yeah.
I think.
Is these days either go all out or, like, all anonymous?
Yeah.
Because so many
I used to
people
want to be
are-
more anonymous.
Yeah.
And I was never anonymous. Like I would post stuff on Instagram, but I never put content out, like videos. And then I guess it gradually became a thing. And now my view is pivoted towards actually, it's almost dangerous not to put content out. Like not dangerous, but like you're missing out.
Yeah.
If you're in the entrepreneurship space, by being anonymous.
Yeah.
Because primarily you just can't meet people.
Yeah.
Because people don't know who you are.
Exactly.
You don't have to have a YouTube channel, but even just having a fucking Twitter account, Instagram account with some information about who you are and what you're doing is probably going to help you meet people.
Yeah.
Whether that's girls or fucking guys or business stuff or whatever it is.
I've heard this saying. Someone said, if you don't build your own personal brand, someone else will build it for you.
Yeah,
So,
very true.
Like, if you can create your own brand, and if you don't do that, then someone else will mess it up.
Yeah,
Not,
it's true.
Not only aesthetics, it's real coconuts.
Oh, I can actually drink this?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. I hope so.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's very cool. And what do you like? Do you enjoy that most, or because recently, if you take a look at his journey, you've kind of been like struggling with. All right, we're a year into the business now. It's kind of getting a bit repetitive, a bit hard. I'm not enjoying it that much anymore.
Well, I wouldn't say I don't enjoy it. I think everything goes past the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
Whether that's an actual relationship or a business. But yeah, I think the whole premise of documenting the journey is I need to document when I feel good and bad about it. That's the whole point. If I only document or gloss over anything negative, then it's not real documenting. So yeah, so I guess it's a very open view into what I'm working on.
You don't feel like shit documenting the shit parts, or does it amplify it, or you don't really care anymore at this point? You're just like.
I mean, to be fair, I probably end up documenting more of the shit parts because I feel more introspective and reflective when I'm like, am I enjoying this? Whereas when I'm just enjoying it, I probably am less inclined to make content because it's like just going well or whatever.
Yeah.
But then I make a video every week anyway.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a bit not quite on the same day or whatever, but I make sure to put some fluff out on the internet every week and people seem to watch it. So
yeah, no, for sure.
and then if no one watched it, I would still do it because in 10 years time it'd be interesting.
Yeah, if you help one person, you win, and if you even help no persons, then you can look back at it, and it's still a win for yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's nice. So now with Space Goods, you came, you didn't hit the 1 year milestones, right? You just missed them.
Yeah, I did like a little over 2 million in the first year
Yeah.
pounds, which was decent for a new brand in a new space, in a consumable space. I've forgotten what my actual goals were. I'm making a video actually this week on the 1 year review because I said I'd do that. So I think, because I just set such big goals, but I think you should always set goals that you miss to some extent. Otherwise they're not really big enough.
So it doesn't feel like a bad thing. You were just below them. You still feel very accomplished.
I think it was solid. Yeah. Especially given completely new market, completely new product. It's not like I'm just drop shipping some tat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
But you said before it's not like you're drop shipping now, but maybe you're kind of missing the drop shipping days where it was all a bit easier. You didn't
I
have
think
to-
a lot of people are missing 2017 Facebook ad costs.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I've been out of that game for like 3-4 years now. So, just building something long term.
Yeah. So you now do feel very fulfilled with what you're building. It's not.
Yeah, I definitely. I think what I'm working on is what I can't really think of anything else I'd work on. It's very aligned with me and what I'm into and what I'm good at. I think. I think it's a good combination. Doing the pod, doing the brand.
Yeah, it fits well.
Trying
Fits
to
aesthetic.
stick with just these two now for the next 10 years.
Also, Midnight City now though. Midnight.
Midnight Social Club.
Midnight Social Club.
So
I still
I
have Pool
started
Party
to-
Social
yeah.
Club in my.
I decided to just pivot the name. So I'm starting to just basically bring the pod into real life somehow because I think that's the best value in having an audience is bringing people together.
Yeah.
And so many people have asked me to do that for so long. So we've done like 2 events so far on a smaller scale. We're doing a bigger one on the 5th of May,
Proper
which is like
tickets.
sold out now,
Yeah.
40 seats. And I'll just keep ramping it up.
Does it show like the impact you make in real life though? Because you say I just put shit out on the internet, but then people actually 40 people show up in middle of London. They pay like 300, 400 bucks just.
Yeah, it's not cheap. It's a pretty fancy event. It's cool. I think that's what I enjoy most out of it. I think that's the best way to use the audience in terms of doing anything offline. So
You're gonna do one here?
Eventually, probably, yeah. London was the obvious place because I think most of my audience are in London.
Yeah.
A few people said, "I'll do one in Bali." All right, maybe next
You
time.
should. I think so. You've already run into some people right here in Bali.
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah,
it's
a lot of
pretty
people that watch
crazy.
the pod.
It's pretty crazy. So what would you recommend other people? Would you say everyone that's building a business document what you're doing, or you think it's only for a certain person? You say like,
I think, yeah, maybe not everyone. I think there's benefit, even if you just document it and don't ever put it public. Just, I think it'd be interesting for anyone to look back on. But if you are conscious that you don't know other entrepreneurs, say, which is what everyone says, so my most common question is, how do I meet people? Well, A, go to Bali, like I said to you.
Yeah.
That's a good place to start. And then, yeah, I think putting some content out, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is, you can find people in those corners of the internet.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to meet people. It's how I met a lot of people originally. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Bali, I talk about it a lot on my journey. Like, Bali is really like a special place, right? And that's why I came here. When I just dropped out, which I talked about in the journey as well, you were one of the people I listened to religiously every week. And in one of the episodes, you said, if you want to meet people, you should go to Bali.
And he came to Bali, so.
Yeah.
And now he met his girlfriend in Bali, so.
As well, yeah.
Yeah.
And I met you in Bali. Like, I would be one of the people that DM'd you, how do I meet people? But now I met you.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just persistent at some point as well.
Yeah, that's cool.
You just have to be a bit persistent. But what else do you have for like people my age? So I just turned 20, right? I'm just in the beginning of my journey. What is your, like, what would you give to me and the viewer there at similar places in their journey? Like, what's your advice for them? Just go to Bali? Just stick to a
not
business?
necessarily Bali. I think if you want to get into the entrepreneurship space, ultimately you need to start something, and you need to, most importantly, meet other people doing it. I think that's the single most important thing in life, is who you hang around with.
Yeah.
And most people, when they start, don't know any other people doing similar stuff. Neither did I, which is why I came to Bali eventually. It wasn't the first place I went, but yeah, I then built a great network, and then that's the single most important thing, I think, especially when you're getting started, is just to meet other people doing similar shit. It doesn't have to be necessarily e-commerce or all that, but it could be something else. Yeah. But I think, yeah, that's the most important thing. Get out of wherever you are, whether that's living at home, at uni, in a job, whatever it is, and just meet people.
Where did you start? Like, what was your first entry? Like, getting out in the
I
world?
went to some event in Singapore in 2017.
Yeah, which
Bought a
event?
one-way ticket. I didn't know anyone. Went to some e-commerce event.
Yeah.
I was really shitting myself, and met a lot of people there that I ended up meeting more people through, and more people, and it's like the butterfly effect. So that was I've mentioned this many times on the pod, that was the first time I ever met anyone that was also into the shit I was into.
And then you just kept hanging out with those people?
Those people, and then people I met through them, and then people I met through them, and so on and so on and so on. And it just snowballs eventually.
You think that had a significant impact on your journey and your business? Like,
Yeah,
going
definitely.
out there, getting out?
Single most important thing I ever did, I think, to escape like the world of people that don't see the world that way.
Yeah. Were you around a lot of people that didn't? Like.
Yeah, because I was in uni in Newcastle, then I dropped out, and I didn't know anyone from school or home or uni that was entrepreneurial at all, because 99% of people aren't. So, yeah, I think that was the best decision I ever made.
And did you feel shit back then, or were you like, I know there's more people out there, because for like me and probably people coming up now, there's YouTube, right? Like, we can see a lot of
I was in
people.
like Facebook groups, so I spoke to people online, so I knew they were out there. So that's probably the first thing, actually, is join, I guess now maybe it's Discord groups or whatever, but find people online that you can relate to, a similar stage, doing something similar, and then probably go and try and meet them somehow. It doesn't have to be in Singapore in some event. You can probably do it in the UK or wherever you're from. But I think, yeah, finding people doing similar shit, broadly speaking.
And back then you were drop shipping, right?
Yeah.
You were doing the posters?
Yeah, loads of stuff. So I had a clothing brand back in like 2015. That was my first ever thing. First time I was on Shopify. And then I realized I didn't have any fucking money, so I started drop shipping jeans at one point, which is when I was at uni. That became a clothing brand where we held stock and so on. And then I left uni, stopped running that brand because it was with my mate, and we just agreed to sack it off because he wanted to stay at uni. It was all very complicated. And then, yeah, got into the dropshipping space. I had a bunch of stuff going on. I sold leggings. That was one of my biggest things. Tried the whole, I actually had a brand called Neon Beach that was selling canvases, but that never really worked. So then that name got used later on. But yeah, this was back when Facebook ads were a lot cheaper.
Turned into neon signs?
That did eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was later on.
Okay.
So
That was when you were already out into the world? Or-
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you were already making some money when you went to Singapore, or not at all?
Very small amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just like me when I got to Bali.
Yeah.
Like I was like
enough to buy a ticket.
yeah. I was like, what should I do? Like I don't know anyone that I can like look up to or like relate to. So I don't make like barely any money yet. But let me just go to Bali and hopefully that can like like access me to people and like propel me forward. And it did. But same for you. Like you had to dare to do that, right? Probably it was a big chunk of money for you back then to go to Singapore and
Yeah, yeah. But I think you have to burn bridges when
yeah.
you want to get into entrepreneurship, basically. And
you
then
think so? You have to burn them?
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I've certainly felt that way. I think it's risky to say, I don't know, if I'd stayed at uni and got a job like everyone else, I may never have after that point gone all in.
Yeah.
So
Because it's dangerous, huh? Getting a job.
yeah, I think it's dangerous getting comfortable with something you don't want to do.
Yeah.
So
How do you make yourself uncomfortable now then? If you say back then, like you went out into the world, you're doing all these things, but now you're pretty comfortable, right? In a routine in London, or would you say the building is still pretty uncomfortable?
well, I'm used to it, so I guess in that sense it's comfortable. How do I make myself uncomfortable? Well, trying to just improve, I guess, hiring new people, working with more experienced people,
Yeah. So it's now just
running
a process.
marathons, I guess stuff offline.
Yeah.
There's always something, but I think probably the hardest part is when you first get started and you have no momentum and no context or experience on anything.
Yeah. Did you feel lost back then? Maybe when you just dropped out of uni? When you
Yeah,
went
I
to
think so.
Singapore?
It's hard to think back that far now and feel retrospectively what I felt like, but yeah, I definitely felt lost.
Mhm.
I think I probably still feel lost to an extent now, but certainly less.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably what everyone feels when they start something.
Yeah. And even when you get further, people always think he has everything together, he has everything figured out. But I feel like even people that are further, like you, are still like figuring it out every day. Like it's not like not the people you see on Instagram, or it's not like they have everything together. They're probably like stressed out or this or that. It's like always gonna be
Yeah,
figuring
definitely,
it out, right?
definitely. You just have more experience to reference now.
Mm.
You know, you've probably been through something before, you know someone that has, or you have a better network.
Mm.
So it's maybe less scary because you've been through more shit when you're more experienced.
Yeah.
So
Then after Singapore, you went back a little while after you started the Neon Beach. And that was that your first very successful?
that was quite a while later, to be
Okay.
fair. Long story short, I mean, I've given this timeline on my podcast a million times. Yeah, so I went to Singapore in like 2017 and then spent about 2 years traveling with a bunch of guys, lived in Bali. This was like pure dropshipping days.
Okay,
Then I
yeah.
moved to London in early 2019, so like 4 and a bit years ago now. That became my base. I then started a jewelry brand called Midnight City, which was my first 7-figure brand. I say brand as in wasn't dropshipping at all. Because I'd started in the brand building space, i.e. not dropshipping.
Mm.
So, but then realized that I didn't have any fucking money or experience. So went into the dropshipping space for cash flow. Then started that brand late 2018, to be fair, but properly start of 2019. Ran that only in 2019. Then I started Neon Beach at the end of start of 2020, about a year later.
Mm.
Ran them both in 2020. And then Neon went tits up at the start of 2021.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I've given that full story on my pod as well. But
Yeah.
I was running 2 brands essentially between 2019, 2021. And then at the end of 2021, I started working on Space Goods. And then that launched kind of early, middle 2022, which is a year ago now. So time has flown.
Yeah. Would you say that running 2 things at the same time was a reason that it all went tits up, or?
It's probably I think it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's just a focus thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know people that have done more than one thing at the same time, but I think at that scale, it's very, very, very hard.
Yeah.
And yeah, fucking hell, I wouldn't recommend it.
No.
Definitely not.
So when you get to bigger numbers and one can be like a very big brand, you should go all in on that one
Yeah,
thing.
I think so. Yeah.
So you would even now, because you could say you do different things, right? You do the podcast.
Yeah, I think because the podcast is it's like an entirely different realm. It's like a part-time thing. It doesn't take, whereas before I was trying to do 2 full-time things at the same time. And they were both very different businesses, both D2C, but you know, very different supply chains. So I couldn't really leverage any part of the other into the other one. So it was just too much. It was too big too soon, without enough experience, without a big enough team.
Because you were like one-man army with a bunch of VAs. Doing crazy numbers.
It was heavy.
But you don't, looking back at it, regret any of that? Do you think it added to your journey in the end? Because for me, I feel like, and I don't know why, sometimes that if I lose, I'm gonna die or something. But that's like a pretty big loss you took there, and you handled it. And like looking back at it, is it like a positive thing or?
Yeah, I guess there's a silver lining to everything. I think ultimately entrepreneurship is all about failure and learning. Like, it's just most people don't go hard enough to fail big enough for it to be a notable story, and B, people aren't public about their failures. So everyone thinks no one fails, whereas businesses fail all the time, and like people fail on smaller scales all the time. But yeah, I think it's the only way to get much better at stuff, really. And you think about just going to the fucking gym, you fail and then you get stronger. It's kind of, in a very cliche way, it's the same sort of shit.
So you're not scared to fail?
No, I feel like I'm probably even less scared to fail now, because I've been through ups and downs, and ultimately you come out of it and learn from it. I feel like one thing I realized with the documenting the journey part, that let's say if I fail now, because I'm committed doing this every week for the rest of my life, then I can turn that failure into a win by documenting it and sharing it with people, and it's a win already because they can learn something from it. But are you not anxious about these things where you share everything, you're building the brand, what if this happens, what if, or are you never in your head like that? I'm sharing it all online, like... I kind of like the pressure of sharing it online in a way. So I guess, when you commit to sharing stuff online, if stuff doesn't go perfectly, then there's an element of, oh, should I be sharing that? How do I want to be seen by the world? But at the end of the day, I think if you're just yourself and you're authentic, that's the only way to go, really. Because if you're faking stuff or coming across a certain way, it's always going to come out in the end. Like, if you try and look a certain way on the internet, say, you know, people know in real life what you're really like. So you may as well just be your fucking self. And if people don't like it, that's fine. They can go and dislike somewhere else.
Exactly. And you'll attract the people that do like you, right? You can never attract everyone.
Exactly.
It's definitely been a net benefit for you then, the sharing.
I think so.
It's very cool, because you got the start of Matt's business was after, like you said, your failed businesses, but you even found investors through the podcast. You build your network like that. But because you failed before, and you were already pretty successful, right? Before you failed, like you were driving a Ferrari. You were doing all these crazy things. You think, looking back on that, it was like a mistake living like that, or you think it was too soon?
No, I think it's normal immaturity. You know, give a fucking 23-year-old loads of money, which they made themselves, especially when they're passionate about cars and stuff, and I think anyone would do the same. Like, it's also a scientific fact that your brain doesn't fully form till you're like 25 years old, right? And I definitely feel that. I was way less mature, and there's an argument that should people even be allowed to fucking start businesses at that scale before they're 25, but obviously that's not how the world works. But it's like, I think anyone would do that. I don't regret anything I've done in the past. No. But it's all a good story.
Do you ever have, because what were you, 23 when you got your Ferrari?
24. I had an R8 when I was like 22.
Wait, you didn't have any false beliefs back then? Because I remember, for me, and still, it's like hard to imagine, you know? And you scaled that like pretty young, that fast. You never had like any limiting beliefs for yourself, where you were like, is this even possible, or like how?
I don't know, probably at the very start. I think experience breeds confidence. Once you know you can do something, or you know someone that is doing something similar, then you just do it if you're good enough and you work hard enough.
Yeah, so you just seen it around you. And you knew it was possible. You just kept going at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick. It's sick. So, going a bit deeper into like the personal branding side of things, because I imagine that you get a lot of questions of other people, like how do you do this? And you just say, I share my shit online. Do you think this is like the way forward, like with your personal brand? Just share your shit, or do you think it's like the other way? Because you have a part of YouTube where it's like very fake videos, very like Mr. Beast like, and I feel like you have this part of YouTube where it's like very raw.
Yeah. I mean, I think they both have a place on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to just make a 10-minute video on my iPhone than it is to make high production stuff, right?
Yeah.
That was just my niche, and I guess I've built a following around being just documenting stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously on the pod as well, it's a similar sort of vibe. It's just very open and honest,
Yeah.
which is surprisingly unusual.
Mm.
I think particularly in the whole entrepreneurship space.
Yeah.
You probably can't grow to millions of subscribers doing what I'm doing, especially in my niche, but that was never the plan anyway.
You were never scared to put yourself out there like that, starting it out?
Yeah, I reckon I was at the start, but then I just thought, I don't give a fuck. Like, no one gives a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
I kind of got over that as I've got older, and you
Yeah.
realise that no one gives a fuck about you anyway.
Yeah.
They're just worried about their own shit, really. And if someone does have something bad to say, like, I mean, there's never been anyone that's hated on anyone that's doing anything with their life.
Yeah.
So you have to remember that, because I've had some hate online from like the shit I've put out, like who's watching this guy or whatever. But what's that person doing?
Yeah, exactly. And they probably forget in like a day, right?
Yeah.
But it's easier to say like when you're in the beginning of your journey, like me, or when you were just starting out your business. But now stuff's getting serious. There's investors on board, there's people on board. Is that maybe a side where you're like, in the future you'd have to watch what you're saying? You could not be as raw anymore.
There is an element of that already, I think. I've had people say to me, oh, you shouldn't share this, you shouldn't share this. So, yeah, I think that does become a factor as the business gets bigger, or you got more eyeballs. There becomes more potential risks of documenting everything. And I don't document everything. I don't fucking film myself in bed, do you know what I mean? Where some YouTubers do.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a YouTuber, but I guess technically I am. So yeah, I will see how that plays out, because already I think that's a bit of a factor.
Yeah. That
But
doesn't
I'll work around it.
Yeah.
I'll just pivot what I'm doing or what I'm sharing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I might structure it a bit more, professionalize it a bit
Yeah,
more.
exactly, yeah.
Because then you could definitely grow, right? I think there's a lot of room to grow. I mean, everything is unoptimized right now, right?
Yeah, it's very raw. I don't even do thumbnails and shit.
And you
I probably should. I'm just very lazy with it.
You're at like 1,500 to 2K views right now per week. It's just you sitting down.
Yeah, on every video, yeah.
So there's a lot of room to grow, right?
Definitely.
But you are not. You would want to go to a bit more like.
To be fair, I probably do. It's hard to up the production massively when I'm like traveling and stuff, because you don't have a studio or whatever. But yeah, I guess my content has built a following because of the consistency and the content itself, rather than like the production. But I think I would like to start taking it a bit more seriously.
Yeah. And not a lot of your friends do this, right?
No.
Are they like, what are you doing, or?
No, they're all just. I think they think I'm good at it, but they're just a bit more private.
Yeah. Is there, like we said before, you can go like anonymous or like all out, but do they think like, what are you doing? You should stay private, or do they think like, I also want to do a bit of this? Because I feel like meeting entrepreneurs here, they've accomplished a lot, but they say like, I want to inspire younger people, or I want to do something like that, but they don't know how to put themselves out there. So do you think your circle also is like?
Yeah, I don't think that they want to do it, but I think they understand why I do it, and they think it works for me. Yeah. So it's just preference, isn't it?
You think, let's say you're 80, you think you're gonna be more happy, laughing, proud, looking back at any business you've built, or the videos?
I think, well, I would hope the business would be bigger, but I think the videos will be more interesting, right? Because I can watch them. Yeah, that'd be quite mad. Like, if you're a YouTube vlogger, say, that's got hundreds of videos, which I maybe one day will have, it's like a time machine,
Mm.
which this is the first generation that's had that.
Yeah.
Because like obviously they didn't have YouTube when our grandparents were kids.
Mm.
So
And
it's crazy.
you're building your brand to exit, right?
That's
So
the
at some
plan,
point
I
you'll
guess.
move on from the brand.
I would hope so within my lifetime. Yeah.
And then what? Like, are you still gonna document your shit? Or are you gonna be rich sitting on a beach?
I don't know. We'll see. Probably start something else.
Yeah? You don't
Yeah.
think you could like chill?
I don't know. I mean, I get kind of bored just chilling, even in Bali and stuff, on like weekends. I'd rather do some work. I mean,
Yeah.
it's weird because you can plan for the future, but you can't predict it,
Mm.
like technically. But then, like if I think about in a year's time, even a year's time seems crazy, but in a year's time, obviously it will feel normal at the time because it's gradually got there.
Yeah.
Because life gradually pivots and moves.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
You'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I wonder, because now you have stuff to document in your building, right? But at that point, you're gonna get to that point. Is it then gonna be like, yeah, what will happen then? What would you say for me, right?
I'll just disappear.
Completely go rogue.
Yeah.
So for me now, I'm 20, and I'm now documenting for like 7 months. Like we talked about before, I am doing two things right now because I'm kind of bootstrapping my brand while keeping myself alive with my agency. Like I take money out of that. I help people with content and stuff for context. It's like info brands creating content.
Mm.
Is there something you're like, I wish I knew this at 20, or like in the entrepreneurship world first, like I wish I would have been more careful, or
Yeah,
done my
probably a lot of
taxes right?
things. Probably a lot of things. I just get, yeah, you just can't look back at things regretfully because hindsight's always so clear.
Mm.
I think, yeah, like I said before, I wish for me I'd documented more earlier,
Yeah.
which you're already doing.
So keep at that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, well, it's hard to say pick something so soon because you need to try things before you
Yeah.
know what you're best at. But I think if I'd picked one thing earlier, but that wasn't my personality,
No.
and I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was 20.
Yeah.
I was trying a bunch of shit. It was broadly e-commerce, well, it was e-commerce, but it wasn't like one brand.
Yeah.
But if you do know what you want to do, I'd say focus on one thing.
Mm.
And yeah, probably, I think focus on building a good network and just people you know in the space.
Yeah.
Maybe guys that are same level as you, people that are ahead, older people.
Yeah.
You're
Mm.
never going to regret that. So
Yeah, it's true. And that's kind of what that's one of my struggles right now is like, I hear everyone saying, do one thing. But then if I sack one thing off, then the other, like, it's kind of like, I needed both right now. I'm trying to get the brand somewhere. But yeah, as you said, I'm still like that, figuring it out. Like I would love to help ecom brands with community building, but then I found out in the journey as well, like, how am I gonna do organic social media for ecom brands? Like they want an ROI. And then I met info product people here, and then I found out these info product people can benefit from content because if they make one extra sale, they are profitable. But then I'm now here like, that's not what I'm like very passionate about, but that is now like giving me, or I have 3 active clients right now that is giving me money right now to do this shit. But how can I also like try to figure out a way to help ecom brands, or build my own, like keep building my own brand, because it's a big community now, but it doesn't reflect in sales. So it's like all of these different things.
Yeah.
And it's as you said, I probably need some more time and just keep trying things.
yeah, figure it out. Yeah, I'm still, a lot of things I'm trying to figure out and it never ends.
Yeah.
But there's always a new challenge.
You think it never ends?
Definitely never ends, yeah. You never have it all figured out.
No?
There'll always be something. Then you'll achieve something and then there'll be another thing.
Yeah.
So that's the constant process
Mm.
of entrepreneurship.
Mm.
And most people aren't cut out for it
Yeah.
because it's hard.
Yeah, it's easy to give up, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And personally, is there anything you'd say to me personally? Like maybe don't burn bridges in relationships, or maybe.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I think one of the most important things is, I think, keep your integrity intact and keep your reputation intact. Because I've always done that, even though I've had social media, destroy me when the Neon Beach stuff was happening,
Yeah.
but I didn't do anything wrong, and that was proved, and you know, everyone around me knew that, and people in the industry knew that. So I think that's very important. Yeah, because I know a lot of people that I've met that have burnt bridges for, whether with me or anyone else, and it doesn't go down very well, because you know, rumors spread fast about how someone's treated someone, or you know, just keep your integrity intact, do things the right way, don't fuck over people. I think that's very important.
Have you not been scared when it all went down? Did you not think, now my integrity is all fucked up? When the Neon Beach, like his business burned to the ground, customers were angry, people thought you stole their money. At the end of the day, there was a bunch of supply chain issues, but you were getting like flamed on social media and everywhere. Like people
That's
came
just
to your
social
house,
media.
right?
That's just social media.
But you weren't like, now it's all over for me. It's not.
No, because I knew I'd done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And I fixed the problems, and then I spoke about it. So, yeah, if I had done something wrong, which, you know, a lot of Forex people say, I know a lot of dodgy kind of guru types
There's a
that
bunch of them.
arguably didn't ever face any onslaught, but I don't know if they can sleep at night, whereas I can.
Yeah. And what do you think about, so like we said before, I met my girlfriend here. It's my first relationship.
Yeah.
Like,
Got some good game there. Walking up to her infield. She's 5 years older, is she?
yeah. She's. That's how I ended up in Dubai.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she lives in Dubai since she was younger, and we stayed there for like 3 months.
Oh shit!
It's pretty crazy as well, because, like, I wasn't at Dubai level yet to be in Dubai, right? But I was there because my girl was there, so it opened up a lot of like possibilities for me, like seeing that kind of stuff. And I went to Affiliate World there and to some other places, met some very cool people, met some 17, 18-year-olds doing like, I don't know how many hundreds of Ks dropshipping a month.
Yeah.
It's like there's some mad people out there. But you talk about relationships a lot. Like, you are a relationship kind of guy, right?
Well, I've only ever had one relationship, so I don't know if I could say I'm a relationship kind of guy, but I think there's pros and cons.
What do you think is best for building now? With a stable relationship, or like you have now?
It's the age-old debate, isn't it? You know, if you've got a girlfriend, arguably you're more focused because you're not distracted by girls.
Yeah.
But then if you have a girlfriend and she's the wrong girl, you could take your eye off the ball, which happened to me a little bit. So I think it's completely subjective.
Yeah.
And there's answers either way. But I would say that if you have a girlfriend, they need to understand what you're trying to do and not distract you from that, rather add to that.
Yeah.
Maybe they're doing their own thing, or especially obviously if you want to travel, that's a big one. You're not going to see them unless they can travel with you, or they do something online.
Yeah. Would you ever stay in like a long distance relationship?
No.
No.
Don't see how that could work.
No. Now, how do you recognize the wrong girl? Because you said the last girl was kind of wrong.
Yeah, I mean, our worldviews just weren't aligned.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, just categorically.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, you know, when you fall in love with someone, I think you can be blinded by short-term, what's the word, infatuation.
Yeah.
And then it's like the honeymoon period is over, and then, you know, you realize if you're actually compatible or not.
Yeah.
And I think living together brings out the truth maybe quicker than otherwise would.
Yeah.
So yeah, we lived together for like 9 months, and that wasn't good.
No.
Not for me anyway. So.
And does that now hold you back from like wanting to go in another relationship? Or
It probably makes me just more aware of my own preference, and would be more. I have more context, and again, it's experience. Like with anything, if you don't have experience in a relationship, like I didn't before that, then you don't have experience in a relationship, and then you become more experienced with girls and relationships in general once you've had a relationship.
Yeah. So you're kind of against you need to be celibate and you need to like.
That's a load of bullshit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of why would you need to be celibate?
I don't really understand that, but people say that a lot these days. Like.
Well, they're probably just nerds. But that's just the reality. I'm certainly not that. So.
Yeah. No, there's a lot going on like that on Twitter. Like, don't get distracted. This and that. Well, I've so far, like, this has been my first relationship, but it's been beneficial, like, in almost every aspect to me. And maybe I've been lucky with meeting the right girl, but yeah, like you said, it keeps me focused.
Yeah.
It keeps me in place. It's like, I don't like the running around anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you just have to know your own preference, right?
Yeah. So you are dating right now, or?
I'm not dating anyone.
No?
I obviously speak to girls,
Yeah.
see girls now and then, but
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no one in particular.
And you with your completely different topic, but since you went a completely unusual route, right? You dropped out of school. A lot of questions I get are people that are at a similar position that I was when I started documenting the journey. They would like to drop out. They're not sure, like, and especially from the parents, they're like, I don't know how I'm gonna like explain this to my parents. Like, how did you do that? Did you just completely go your own route? Just like, this is what I'm doing, or did you explain it to them? Did you?
Yeah, I did a little
reason?
bit, but I still, to this day, don't think my parents understand me.
No?
And why would you take advice or respect the opinions of people that aren't doing what you want to do?
Yeah,
Fundamentally,
that easy.
just because, and yeah, it's your parents, it's difficult, but unless they're doing what you want to be doing, unless they're living a life that you want to be living, why would you take advice from them
Yeah,
or listen to their opinion?
yeah.
You know, you can respect their opinion, you don't have to agree with it or abide by it. So yeah, that's a difficult one.
You didn't
But-
struggle with that at all?
Yeah, I did, because people don't believe in you and so on, but that's the same story with literally every entrepreneur ever, so
Yeah.
you just have to accept that and get on with it.
Yeah. So you did kind of explain them, but there was no way of changing your mind, like them to you. You have a twin brother. He
Yeah.
did go the like route that you're supposed to go, right? Probably
Yeah,
finish school,
Much more traditional route.
traditional. So that makes it maybe even harder. Like,
Yeah. I knew that wasn't for me when I was 8 years old, so why would I literally don't care what anyone says. I'm not
Yeah.
going to do what they want me to do if I know who I am.
yeah.
Just no possible way of changing my view on that.
You think that's you're just born with that, or you think?
Yeah, I think to an extent you probably are.
Because I feel like some people just have that way of thinking. And
Yeah,
then-
I think you probably are born with it in a way.
And because how do you,
You
really
have to be,
learn
because
that?
I had the same upbringing as my brother, and we're like the complete opposite.
Yeah, that's a pretty
So-
cool example, huh?
So it obviously wasn't circumstantial, because we
Yeah.
had the same surroundings.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that is a pretty good example.
Mm.
Same upbringing, everything.
yeah,
So some people just have it and some don't. But what
I
if
think
you,
to an extent, yeah.
okay, but what if you are like wanting to drop out, but you like stop yourself because like your friends and your family? Would you just advise like change your environments, maybe in your room already with videos? That's what I did.
Mm.
Like I just sat in my room, and at some point I stopped going to parties, and I just started listening to your channel and other podcasts, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I have no idea, but at least this way is not for me, and I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You think that's the best way to go?
Well, I think I think firstly, just don't take the advice, like I said. But if you are
Yeah.
taking their advice and not dropping out or something, yeah, just try and control your inputs, I suppose.
Yeah.
So I probably wouldn't watch the news. I'd read certain Twitter categories, watch certain YouTube videos. It's
Yeah.
all out there.
Yeah. And then
So-
keep trying different things.
Yeah.
Like you said, just try.
And speaking to people doing similar shit, like I said. So
Yeah. My audience is probably similar in their journey. Why would you watch me otherwise? Maybe if you just want to listen to shit. I mean, you said there's also some pretty successful people listening to your shit. Like very.
yeah, definitely.
Successful.
I've had like 50-year-old entrepreneurs message me saying they listen to my stuff because they're just interested.
Yeah.
So it's not all beginners or, younger guys.
Yeah.
It largely is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. No, I wanted to put
big range.
things into perspective, because I'll put it up on the screen, but like, so if you're at that point right now where you're like, I don't know what to do. I was there in like January last year where I messaged you. I was like, I didn't make any money yet. I was like, my brand, you can look it up. It was Corona, and my brand is for exchange students. So there were no exchange students. So I was working in a marketing job and then listening to your podcast, for instance. And I tried many ways to work for you for free. I tried to create your thumbnails. You weren't making thumbnails back then.
I'm still
You're
not
still
really.
not making thumbnails.
Well, you can do it now if you want. Probably graduated past that now, haven't you?
Yeah. Still a good one. Anyways, I was like, hey, can I work for free? I think for you guys at home, try to do that.
That is a good way. Yeah.
Like work for free. I think you have a guy working for you now, Florian,
Yeah.
that just probably bombarded you, or?
Yeah, he started because he wanted to do customer service for free, so I gave him a chance, and he was really fucking good.
Yeah.
Then I started paying him, and then he became full-time, and now he's doing operations.
Yeah.
So a load of stuff.
So probably like 17, 18, 19-year-old, you know it's not your way. Try to find people you can relate to or you aspire to be like. Work for them for free. But offer value, I think is the point. Or like find out a way to offer value so you can learn from people.
Yeah, I think that's what anyone should do, I reckon. If you really want to get into something, it's the best way to get started and get experience. And if you're really good, people will pay you.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so
you just got to be good. Most people aren't very good at many things.
So what do you do then? Like, alright, I want to build a brand. I see you. I'm not very good at things. Like, how could I then still learn from you?
Watch my YouTube channel, which is free.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's it? Just watch free content?
But
Get good at something.
I think you have to start something. So start your first shitty Shopify website.
Yeah.
Because I remember my first one. I still think my website is shit now, but it's better than it used to be.
Yeah.
Like, people think people are just born with these skills. No, you just fucking start and you get better at stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
And that's probably something that brought you very far in entrepreneurs in general, is that they're not scared to start. Because even, for instance, with this, probably pretty shitty still. We'll get way better over time. But what if I don't want to start? Like, what if I met you, right? And I'm scared of interviewing you because I'm still shit. Like, that's a missed chance.
Yeah.
That's probably a big factor as well. Like, try things.
You're always going to be shit when you start, whatever it is, whether it's fucking running or going to the gym or starting a brand or starting a channel.
Yeah.
But if you're not willing to be shit, then you don't deserve to ever be good.
Yeah.
Because that's just how life works.
I think it also makes it inspirational. Like seeing the shitty.
Yeah,
like being
exactly.
able to look back and see, this was really bad and now it's good. Like,
yeah, progress.
That's very cool. Yeah. You say you go to the gym now a lot?
I've always trained
Running?
quite a lot. Yeah, I spent years as a rower when I was younger.
You did a marathon?
Yeah, like a few months ago. Yeah, it's my first one. I got into running like a year ago after my post-breakup fat phase.
Yeah.
So I got in the best shape of my life and then discovered running.
Which one you think helps more with your discipline, the running or the gym?
For me, probably the running.
Yeah.
I mean, I do both. Like, still lift weights and calisthenics, all this shit.
Yeah.
But I think for me, there's something about endurance training, which is really good for you. But I think that's more of a discipline thing when you're training for something specific rather than just going to the gym, like all the gym bros.
Yeah.
Because that's fine, but I think having a goal
No, you're right.
has helped me.
Kind of hits me, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to get into running more because I'm just gymming now.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where it's really easy. But when I run, I try to run once a week. It's like I hate it so much.
Yeah,
Like,
I used to hate
it.
I mean, it's not for everyone, but when you get good at something, you start to enjoy it more.
Yeah.
And for me, I got good at it really quick. And then I got shredded, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll keep doing this.
Yeah.
So.
And you're planning on doing another marathon?
Well, I was meant to be doing another one today in London.
Actually.
But I dropped out like 6 weeks ago because I was doing too much CrossFit. But I'll do another one this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think that's also probably a really good thing for people if they are lost and don't know what to do? Like, at least get your body together?
Yeah, I think read David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. I think doing tough physical things, it's like free. So, you know what I mean? Like, controlling your body and working hard in the gym is free, basically. So that's always a good place to start.
Yeah.
Being in better shape and working hard offline is always going to help the online stuff, particularly if you have nothing going on online or in business yet.
And you notice that throughout the day? Is it like maybe you are not feeling like doing something, but you can put your mind to it because you're disciplined? Or is it not something you notice like actively?
Yeah, I think so. You just get good at getting stuff done.
Yeah.
It's a key life skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you have a responsibility of a business. So, you know, there's never really a day off, but that's the life we choose.
Can you put it out of your mind at all? The business and the...
Not really, no.
And does it like overstress you at times?
At times, definitely, yeah.
But you've always managed to...
Just used to it, I think. I think any founder is probably used to like some level of chronic underlying stress or anxiety.
Even now you were working earlier today on Sunday, you don't take any breaks or days off?
I don't even think of it like that. I've probably not had a day where I haven't looked at work at all for like the past 6-7 years.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like work. Do you know what I mean? I want to. Obviously, a lot of it does, but I want to be on top of stuff, and it will probably always be like that.
Yeah. So you're like, if it works for me, then like people say you should take a day off, but you still.
Yeah, I mean, I try and have. I wouldn't work all day Sunday.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's the reality of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and in reality for anyone.
Yeah,
You're not going to have a week off. I think maybe a day off's fine, but you just find what works for you.
And do you notice that maybe you work better in sprints, like you go hard for a few months and then you do
I mean,
like this?
I definitely, I've never like done hard for a few months and then nothing for a few weeks, say.
No.
But I definitely, there are periods where you're in the trenches more, shall we say,
Yeah.
and then other periods where I might travel a bit more, but I'm still working, but it's maybe more maintenance.
So that's right now, or?
Kind of. Maybe last week when I was in Dubai, it was more like that because we were like partying and shit.
Yeah.
But here I'm still kind of working a lot.
So you still party?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't know.
Now and then.
Now and then. You're an advocate of the strategic sense, which helped me a lot.
Yeah, that's a good phrase I came up with.
I use the phrase a lot.
Yeah, it's good.
When I was first in Bali.
Trademark that.
Yeah. Yeah, no. When I was first in Bali, I was going out for like drinks. I was not like, these are drinks. This is like a strategic sense.
Yeah, it is. It's very important. It's a great way to network with certain people. Is the strategic sense.
Yeah, because I noticed most people don't even feel like talking about business at some point. Like, I remember first meeting people and they were like, Tristan, you're doing great, but sometimes you shouldn't only be talking like about business, because guys that are deep in business, they want to talk about anything but business.
Yeah.
They want to talk like about girls or about drinks.
You just got to read the room.
Yeah.
It depends who you're with and what the context is, of course, but that's just a life skill, a social skill.
Yeah, you'll get better at it.
Yeah,
I know.
exactly.
But doing that, going out, like I barely go out, but you don't think it has any negative like impacts on you?
Yeah, I mean, drinking and partying all the time is not good. But there's a time and a place for everything, I think, and you have to find out what works for you.
Yeah.
I drink red wine on the pod traditionally because I think it's a better conversation as a result. There's an argument that if you never drank ever, you'd be more productive, but then you might miss out on, I don't know, a better podcast, a better date with a girl. So just find what works for you.
Yeah, so it does have some positive.
There's positives and negatives to literally every decision in life. Some are more positive, some are more negative, but you have to weigh that up and make that decision for yourself. Whether that's going to the gym, drinking, living in Bali as opposed to somewhere else, dating a girl as opposed to not, anything. Yeah.
See what works for you, basically, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up. Like, thank you so much for coming on. Like, I told you already, but like, it's for me. It's you've made a lot of impact, right? And I think, for instance, me saying that to you, like, just be open and authentic and raw, like with whoever you meet, and also if you decide to document your journey, if you're just yourself, like you say, people will gravitate to you. Probably if you've met me and I was like a dickhead, you wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah.
I was just like, I met him in Zin. I work there quite often.
Yeah.
And then the next day I was like, hey, look, this is the podcast setting. Just let's go on there. Like, be a bit bold, but
yeah, definitely.
You have any like advice, wrapping it up, for people way further in the beginning of their journey?
I think just fucking start.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's probably the most important thing, and work hard.
Start and work hard.
I mean, very basic principles, but life is ruled by basic principles, I think. So, and I think the thing I said at the start is you need to just find people doing similar stuff.
Yeah. So get to an environment. Yeah,
exactly. Curate your circle and your environment as much as you can, I think.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. Let us know in the comments. I mean, I know I need to get better, but any feedback, any questions you want to hear for the next guest, and we'll be back next week.
Pleasure.
Thank you, man.
Good to chat.
Thank you.
Boom.
Let's go.
Sweet.